In the village of Umuokpara, where the palm trees grew taller than tails and the moon had its own language, there lived a girl whose curiosity was sharper than the village chief's. Her name was Adanne, daughter of Mazi Okoro and Mameji, born under a rare eclipse. The villager says her destiny was tied to secrets better left untouched. Adanne was 16, with the kind of beauty that made even married men forget their promises. Her laughter had the softness of river foam, and her eyes carried the stubbornness of the harmattan. But it was not her beauty that drew whispers. It was the way she asked questions, dangerous questions. Why don't the elders speak of the hill beyond the river? She once asked. Why must no one fetch water alone at dusk? Her mother would hiss and throw coconut shells at her feet, saying, "You ask too much, child. One day your mouth will invite what your legs cannot escape." And yet no one could tame her mind. It danced like smoke, especially when it came to him, Obinna, the boy with the curse face. Obinna lived in the edge of the village near the old Udala tree. No one knew who his parents were. He had lived one rainy season, left at the shrine steps wrapped in raffia leaves, with tribal marks that didn't match anyone in Umuokpara. But it was the strange pimple that made people cross the road when he walked by. The bumps were like ordinary pimples. They glowed faintly in the dark. Some were sharp like cowries, others like tiny eyes. The elders declared him an omen child, a taboo spirit reborn. No one dare touch him, except Mama Nneka, the old herbalist. They are not pimples. Mama Nneka once whispered to Adanne when she caught her staring. They are doors, and only a foolish hand would try to open that which it cannot close. But Adanne wasn't afraid. She watched Obinna from afar. How he worked like someone listening to music no one else could hear. How his lips would move, yet his eyes always searched the sky. They were golden brown, those eyes like roasted plantain. One afternoon, she found him staring by the stream, sketching patterns on the sand with a stick. Obinna, she said, why don't you ever talk to anyone? He looked at her, his pimple face unreadable. You speak enough for both of us, he replied quietly. His voice was like wind rusting dry leaves, soft but unsettling. Besides, people listen to not understand, but to judge. Adanne sat beside him. I don't judge, I just want to know. Obinna's lips curled slightly, knowing it is a burden. That night, Adanne dreamed of him, only this time his face was clear, no pimple, no marks, just smooth, glowing skin and eyes that turned into flames. He held her hand and said, Don't, you mustn't. But she didn't listen. In the dream, she reached to his cheeks. She woke up sweating. The air in the hut was still, too still. Even the cricket refused to sing. Her mother stared. Adanne, she murmured, half asleep. Don't touch the boy. He's not what he seems. The next morning, she found a fresh colonel split perfectly in half on her doorstep. No one knew who left it. In Umuokpara, such a sign meant no one but one thing. The ancestors were watching, but Adanne's heart pounding whispers to herself, if I don't find out, who will? 3 days passed. Adanne could barely focus on the chores her mother asked her, fetching cassava, washing goat dung of the compound, pounding yam. Her thoughts always returned to Obinna. Why had she not known this was a burden? Why did his voice feel like something ancient pretending to be young? She found herself drawn to the old shrine, not the one the elders still used, but the one that was being ruined and hidden in the forest. abandoned since the Great Fire. The kind of place children dare each other to go, only to return crying. She wasn't scared. She needed answers. The forest swallowed her footstep. The deeper she went, the quieter everything became. Even the birds paused their singing. She reached the shrine. Its walls were cracked, roots pushing through the floor, and on the stone altar lay something strange, a wooden mask with glowing pimple like carvings. Adanne touched it. A chill ran up her arm. In that instant, the sky darkened. For a heartbeat, thunder rolled in the distance. Though the sky was still blue, she dropped the mask, heart racing. The air whispered her name. She turned to flee, and there was Mama Neka, standing barefoot behind her, a white feather in her hair and pot of herbs strapped to her back. Curiosity, the old woman said, is how the first woman lost the scars. Adanne stammered, I didn't mean to, Mama. Nneka raised a hand. You've already begun the path. Be warned, child. Obinna is not cursed by the gods. He is the cursed. The words strayed her like a long after she left the forest. That evening, as the village gathered for storytelling beneath the Iroko tree, Adanne sat quietly beside her father, who boomed laughter at the hunter's tale, but her eyes wandered. Obinna was across the clearing, sitting alone, always listening. She stood and walked towards him. The elders noticed. A few whispered. A few turned their backs. Obinna looked as she approached. You should be here. I've touched the mask. She whispers. I don't know it. The old shrine, the markings, they are just like the ones on your face. Obinna's jaw tightened. Then you've made a mistake. The mask was a seal. You've started something that you can't or you cannot be undone. He stood up and walked away. Adanne didn't follow. She returned home with a stomach full of dread. Her mother wouldn't meet her eyes. Her father muttered prayers as she carved the wood. That night, the wind hollowed like it hadn't in years. She dreamt again. This time, the village burned. Screams filled the air. Obinna stood in the center, eyes glowing like molten iron, and everyone fell beside him, except Adanne. She stood firm until she reached out and touched his cheeks. With that touch, the world shattered. The pimples burst open like tiny mouths, and a great voice screamed from within him. You were warned. She woke, gasping. Her window had blown open. The floor was wet with rainwater, though the roof had no leak. Outside, the village dog barked widely, running in circles. She sat up, heart thudding. Her hands itched with a strange warmth. She lifted them into the moonlight, and her fingers shimmered as if they had touched something not meant for the mortals. The next morning, the village was different. The air felt heavier, as though something invisible had settled over Umuokpara like a wet cloth. Chicken refused to cluck. The goat bleated strangely, and old Papa Dogo claimed he saw his late wife sitting by the yam barn, combing her hair. Adanne avoided the market. She walked instead to the river, her thoughts spinning. The dream haunted her, the glow in Obinna's eyes, the voice from his pimple. You were warned, but warned about what? She bent to wash her face in the streams and gasped. Her reflection flickered. For a brief moment, it wasn't her face she saw, it was Obinna's, his eyes inside hers. His marks opened up her skin. Then, just like that, her reflection returned to normal. She stumbled backward, screaming. A woman fetching water nearby dropped her pot. Adanne, are you mad? I saw something. Then keep it to yourself, the woman muttered, gathering her things quickly. This village is not safe for noisy tongues. Adanne ran to Mama Neka's hut. The herbalist sat grinding herbs with eerie calm, surrounded by jars of lizard tails and dried snail shells. It started. Wasn't it? She asked without looking up. I saw his face. In mine. What is it? Mama Nneka replied. Obinna was never meant to be seen by mortal eyes. He is a vessel, a prison. Long ago, the ancestors trapped a demon spirit in a newborn child to save his land. That child's body carried the seal, the mark to hold the evil in it. Adanne's voice trembled. So the pimples, they are not skin diseases. They are locks, and you, my dear, are picking them. But I haven't touched them. Mama Nneka looked up. Yet your spirit has the mask, the dreams. You desire to know. Each thought, each vision is a key. Adanne felt the earth shifted beneath her feet. What happens if all the keys are used? The prison opens, Mama Nneka said softly, and the demon within becomes free again. Obinna, far away in the palm grove, felt it too. He had felt the change in Adanne's touch, even in the spirit realm. The bindings were loosening. His chest ached with each breath. The face of forgotten ancestors whispered in his ears. He dug a hole behind his heart and buried the bone-carved ring the elders gave him when he turned 10. The one, they said, would silence the voice if he had heard it speak. But it wasn't working anymore. The voices were louder now, and they were calling her name. That night, a storm threw Umuokpara like a thief. Lightning cracked open an ancient tree in the village square. The old bell of judgment rang by itself. Children screamed. Chickens flew into herds. And in the wind, one could hear a chant, low and deep. She has touched the seal. Adanne woke to find a trail of feathers leading from her doorstep into the forest. She followed them, barefoot, guided by instinct more than sense. The trail led her to the same ruined shrine, but this time the mask was gone. Instead, at the altar lay a drowning her face and Obinna's, bound together by snakes. Her heart nearly stopped behind her. A whisper, "You shouldn't be here." She turned. Obinna stood there, eyes glowing, his breath shallow. His face paused faintly in the dark, and the largest pimple on his cheek glowed. "You've opened too many doors," he said. "Now you must help me close them." Adanne took a step back. "Help you close them? But I don't even know what I've done." Obinna's voice shook. "It's not just about what you did. It's about who you are. You were born under the same moon that sealed me. The same eclipse. You are the echo, the one fated to reflect me." Adanne blinked. "Reflect you?" He nodded, his jaw clenched. The elder feared the demon energy might leak from the vessel over. So they cracked and created a counter, a mirror soon, and a burnt generation later, a balance. That mirror is you. Adanne fell to her knees. "You are saying I was made to bind you?" Obinna looked away. "Not bind, contain. Your energy keeps mine in check. But now you've gotten too close. The balance is shifting. The demon stares. From deep within the forest, a hollowed rose, not an animal, not human, something primal, something ancient. The ground rumbled and birds fled the trees in frantic flight. Obinna winced and held his chest. "It's waking." They rushed to Mama Nneka's hut. The herbalist didn't seem surprised to see them. She was already drawing circles on the floor with white chalk. "You have less time than I hope," she said. "You must perform the mirror rite before the red moon." Adanne whispered, "What happens if we don't?" Mama Nneka's eyes glistened. "The demon will rip through Obinna and find a new body. Yours. You are its key. You are its prize. It will wear your face as it destroys this land." The rite was ancient, requiring silence, blood, and trust. Obinna stood inside, a drowned circle, Adanne in another. Between them, a shallow, a clay filled with goat blood. Mama Nneka began to chant. The candlelight flickered. Adanne's vision blurred. She saw flashes, vision not her own. A temple in flame, a child screaming as a dark face leaped into his body, a council of ancestors arguing without to kill the baby or seal the evil.